Well, we're going. Welcome to the second episode of the Ride Out podcast. I'm your host Ned Kaufman. Sadly, the other host Mason Gibson is not able to join us today, but we have our first guest, the Mr. Jude Swisher,
What's up, Ned?
two-time state place winner, I believe. Two-time
Two-time.
AAA state place winner. He took third this year, fourth last year. Then he took third at the World Team Trials for cadets, losing to the person who won it, Meyer Shapiro. Gave up a tough fight. I mean, I watched it. It was a deck, but it's not like it was a. The first question for you today. This was actually a suggestion by one of my teammates. Is the first question is a simple one. What motivates you?
Wow, starting off real strong. That's a good question. So, what motivates me? Let me ask a question in return. What motivates me to do what? Like to get out of bed in the morning? I don't know, because I got stuff to do.
Yeah, I know. What motivates you to get at it, to just keep doing the sport every day and at it, get back at it.
Well, so at that's a good question. I would say at the core of it, the core of why I wrestle is because I love wrestling. I actually enjoy it a whole lot. And you'd be surprised. There's a lot of high school wrestlers, a lot of very good high school wrestlers who don't actually like wrestling that much.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Dude, it's actually crazy. But to have a high level of success in this sport, you have to love doing it. And that's something that hasn't always been with me. That's something that's really been developed over the last 3 years or so, 4 years. And so, I'm still making progress, but like what really motivates me is, just trying to get better, enjoying the process, and these things are, I would say instrumental in any young wrestler's development is learning to love the sport, learning to love the process, learning to love to get better. Even it doesn't matter how good you are now. Like all that matters is just getting a little bit better. Every little bit better every single day, every single practice, every single rep, So that's ultimately what I say motivates me on the mat. But yeah, does that answer your question?
I mean, you answered it better than I thought you would.
What is that? What are you saying here, Ned? What are you saying, Ned?
I didn't mean that the mean way. I meant that is I was surprised. It was better than I expected. I'm not saying my
expectations.
Not saying I was going into it expecting to be having a bad answer. I'm just you.
Right, dude.
You did better than I thought you would do.
Listen, you ask a good question, I'm going to give you a good answer. That's how we do it on Ride Out Podcast.
Second question: how's it been at the M2 Training Center? How's it been? How long have you been going there?
So that's an interesting question. The M2 Training Center is, in my opinion, one of the very best places in the country to train, maybe the world.
I would agree. I would agree with you because you have a world champion in the room.
Yeah, right.
You have a world champion teaching you.
Well, the difference is that we have an active world champion.
Yes.
Like David Taylor is still actively competing and he is still actively training. He hasn't been removed from the mat 5 years, 10 years. He hasn't retired by any stretch of the word. And so he, he's going through the same thing we're going through. And what that does is that gives us a huge competitive advantage because our coach he's also getting better. He's also trying to learn. He's also trying to improve his own skills. So the M2 Training Center has been going great. We've been growing substantially, over the past, we're entering our 4th year actually, come October. And, it's just a very special place. So I've been going there since it started. It opened in October of 2017, I believe. And, just this last year, we've had 12 state champs, close to 40 state medalists, world team members.
That's a good club.
We have Fargo champs training here. We have, all sorts of stuff. And we continue.
Mason Gibson.
Mason Gibson's coming, dude. But, overall, it's just you're surrounded by people with the same motivation as you and the same motivation as me, which is to get better, you know. And it doesn't matter if you are the best wrestler in the room or you're the worst wrestler in the room or you're 6 years old or you're 17 years old. Like, it don't matter. Like, we're here to get better. And that is ultimately what I think sets us apart, because, a lot of clubs and a lot of wrestlers are very like results focused. They put a lot of their identity into winning or losing or whatever. But what I'd say at M2 is that the results are a byproduct of the work we put in and the effort that we put in. Like, we put in the work and we put in the effort because we love the sport and we love to improve at the sport. And results just come with that. Whether we win or whether we lose, it doesn't change how we train, how we prepare, how we carry ourselves on and off the mat. You know, again, like I'm kind of getting off topic, but wrestling
Yeah.
at M2, I think, is a very wholesome and invaluable experience that I really think everyone should consider. But yeah, so love the M2 training center.
Yeah. I have grandparents that live in Lewistown, so when I'm there for a weekend, I may stop by or something like that. Because
You gotta put it
it's not every day you get the chance to do that. I mean,
No, no, it is
me
not.
living in Reading right now, I can't do that.
Right,
So
right.
I would
Well,
love
you'd be
to.
surprised. I mean, we have kids like Levi Haynes, who's driving. He comes up 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and he drives a 2.5 hour drive, both ways. So it's or he ends up spending like 4 or 5 hours in the car every day, to come to train at M2, because Levi is a kid who recognizes the value of having a coach like David or Eric or Mark or Chenzo or whoever, and being in a room that is surrounded by people who want to get better. It's a very positive, it's a very fulfilling environment to be in, and Levi recognizes that, and so he sees the value in traveling 5 hours every single day to come wrestle at practice.
It's cool. It's really cool, honestly.
Mm.
I gotta get to an MQ practice, dude. I mean, it's
That's
been
what I'm
on my
saying,
mind
bro.
for a while. I'm fortunate enough to go to the compound next week. Staying with state champion CJ Pincero, who's one of my best friends. I'm just grateful enough that I can stay with him and I can train with those guys.
That's good, dude.
It's funny I say that, is because I thought I was gonna hang out with Mason for the week, but the problem is he's going to the Fargo camp that week, which is in Alvernia, which is 20 minutes from me, which I'm going to tonight because I practice there tonight. Me and him are just flip flopping.
I know. You're never gonna see Mason ever.
I'm never gonna see Mason. And then the next question is, what would you say to the new wrestlers watching? It's like who are maybe 2 years into this, a year and a half into this. What would you say to them? What moves would you recommend them? What would you say to them?
Stick with it. Like, stick with it. Don't let results, don't let anything that may affect you externally, don't let it affect your wrestling. Like, something that I was listening to Thomas Gilman talk about actually a couple weeks ago is, the wrestling room and wrestling itself it's a sanctuary. It's a safe place. You go into wrestling, like you go in the room and you leave all your troubles at the door, right? You leave all your worries at the door. You leave all your concerns about winning and losing or stuff going on in your life at the door. And the sooner a young wrestler can understand that, and the sooner that they can accept and be excited to go to wrestling practice and excited to go to spend time in a wrestling room, like the better it's going to be for them. Not in the sense that it is going to win them more matches or it's going to help them score more points, but it's going to help them enjoy wrestling better. And like I said from the beginning, like when you enjoy wrestling, when you love it, the results are just going to come with that. Your focus on getting better and improving is going to actually just make you the results are going to follow. So to any young wrestler out there, like, stick with it. And it's okay to be discouraged. Everyone gets discouraged, but the difference is letting or not letting that discouragement define you as a wrestler, not letting that discouragement affect your training and preparation, but instead using it to guide you and fuel you to just getting better and improving. So,
All right. Next question. How is it hosting a podcast with Sam Herring? Because I know,
dude,
funny guy. He's a
whew,
funny.
hosting a podcast is very fun.
It is. I know
Listen,
from experience.
yeah, I know. You're gonna figure out like here in a couple more episodes, like that's all it is. It's just a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like the things we've got to do, the people we've gotten to talk to, the places we've gone, and the relationships we've built, like it's just so invaluable, right? Like it's a priceless experience. Especially because Sam and I both love wrestling, and that's something you're gonna hear a lot from me is just talking about like the love of the sport, the love of the experience. And so because both Sam and I share this common core of loving wrestling, it makes it very easy for us to talk about wrestling and talk about current events and stuff like that. And on top of that, like I'm sure you've noticed, like I talk a lot. Like
I do
my
too.
mouth is
I
always
can't shut
going,
my
dude.
mouth. That's why I
Exactly.
know
So
people from like California, Alaska. I know a few people from Idaho.
yeah, man. Well, that's it. It's
Yeah,
networking,
I
right?
just can't shut up.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun to host the podcast. I have a very good time doing it. But it's a hobby, right? Like it's something I do for fun. I don't see it as anything more than uh, you know, again, like just a hobby, like something I do for fun. I don't know if I'm going to pursue a career in journalism or communications or, whatever
I
else. But
know. I know I'm young, but I'm not. That's not what I'm gonna try and go for in college. I mean, I'm trying to. If I had to pick a degree that I wanted to go to in college, it'd be graphic designing, because I just like doing it. I mean, it's something you do for fun, and it's
find some, yeah,
yeah, find something you like to do. It's really it.
exactly.
And this is the last question that I wrote personally. It's how has hosting a podcast affected your like personal life at wrestling tournaments and stuff like that? How has it affected you greatly?
Yeah, that is a really good question. Well, I mean, like the easy answer is that like I get noticed. Like even at like Northeast regionals, like people were coming up to me and were like, "You're Jude Swisher, you own a podcast," whatever. Like, something I talk about with Sam is that like I don't want to be noticed because I have a podcast. I want to be noticed because I'm a good wrestler or because people think I'm a nice person, right?
Yeah,
Like the podcast is, it's fun, it's a hobby, but I don't want that to be like my biggest
yeah,
accomplishment ever.
your main identity. Yeah,
Exactly, that's it. Um, you know, eh, in terms of like a personal life, I'd say the podcast has just really helped me uh mature as a human being. I would say like it's helped me be able to articulate my thoughts and my feelings a lot more efficiently. It's helped me to bridge the gap in relationships by like you know exploring like talking, like
yeah, yeah.
a lot of relationships and like you know I'm trying to find the best way to put this, but a lot of relationships can just be helped by talking things out. And a lot of people don't really know how they feel or what they're thinking. And it's hard to put that into words. But having a podcast and being able to talk to a lot of different people and being able to
From
like be
all over the country,
from
from
all over
all
the
over the
country, right? Like, it just helps in that sense. And there's a lot of other stuff about like running a small business
yeah,
and managing merchandise and managing advertising and managing whatever that is just a very important skill that I think a lot of people just don't really know that goes into the podcast. Like there's a lot of logistics and stuff
yeah.
like that like a lot of people are just gonna miss out on. But the final product is I sit here in front of a microphone and a computer and I talk into this and you guys listen to me. So
Speaking of the computer, would you like to tell the viewers what you're using right now?
yeah, man, I'm using this MacBook Air from 2011, bro. I didn't pay a dime for it. And
Really?
not a single dime. And
I
yeah, and
didn't know that.
I'm right now I have the shout out to Jason Bryant, helped Sam and I get some mics, but we have I'm using the ATR 2100. It's a fantastic mic. You can get it on Amazon for I don't know how many dollars. I'd say 150.
That's not
But
bad.
what you got to do is like, if anyone's interested in starting a podcast, don't let like, technology be the thing that holds you back. Right? It's very easy to start a podcast. It's very, 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 it's so easy. Like all you need is literally like a phone and, maybe a pair of headphones, like an AirPods even, or just even something you plug in and put in your ears. And then like have a vision, have an idea for what you want to do. And then, the rest is history. It's pretty easy to figure out from there. I actually use, it's called Anchor, anchor.fm, and you type that into your computer, and it is a free podcast, distributor. So
Oh,
what
really? That's
happens
cool.
is, yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. So basically, you make your account, you submit your podcast and whatever, and then you like upload episodes directly to Anchor, and it distributes it to 15 different sites, like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, like just like I could go on and
Spotify.
on and on. Yeah, Spotify or wherever. Um, and then in addition, like you can just like stream and like put it on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or whatever. So, but like it's easy to do it. So don't let the technology be the thing that holds you back.
And if the viewers are wondering what I'm using right now, what mine is, I'm using a $80 webcam that just started working this morning,
Mm,
and a microphone that's in my computer.
great,
That's
man. You
right.
sound awesome. And like,
I know.
as long as you have
It's a
something,
really nice computer. It's a computer I've been using for about a year for my
yeah.
personal stuff, and the some of the thumbnails I use I get asked this a lot because I used to make wrestling singlets for fun. I still do. I showed them. I should show my wrestling tournaments, and the news get around, and some kids come up to me and says, "How did you make those singlets?" I go, "I use a software called that I found on my computer." I mean, so some computers have software that you could use on them. Mine software is luckily free. It's called Paint 3D. It's um
Yeah.
Coach Will Bassett told me to use this postermywall.com thing, and that's what I used to announce the podcast that we're on right now with you, Jude. And it's
Oh, really?
just yeah, I know that's the edit. That was the edit on that I posted. That was
Mm,
how I made it, not
I
not
like
how
it.
I usually do with the thumbnails.
Yeah.
He gave me the ideas as Ned, you're gonna thank me this, you're gonna thank me for this. Use this. And I'm not I'm not trying to sound mean, but I'm not gonna use it as the thumbnails for right now because I'm still playing with it, and I'm gonna use the template I have, which is through Paint 3D.
Mm,
All right. So,
it's interesting, man.
these are some fan questions.
Okay. Fan questions.
A lot of these I thought were funny. So
Okay, great.
I think the first one that we have to get out of the way is this one was by Levi Haynes.
Oh boy.
And I say this, I hear the old boy and comes from the you're gonna say more than just that. Quote, is it true you were leg cradled?
Yes, it is true. I was like cradled. Yeah. So let's see. Olympic duels, 2020 September. It's like the second tournament back since COVID or whatever. And like first
And I was
match.
there. We had like it was fined like over I think it was like $10,000 worth of fines.
Oh yeah,
Just
like because like
just to
COVID
run
got
it.
like the
C3
the
C3
state
Sports.
college. Yeah, the C3 Sports Center, the State College Bureau, like tried to crack down on it super hard, but we powered through.
I
Let's
remember
see.
I was sitting. It was me and like my teammates were sitting outside, and we see this row of cop cars pull up.
Yeah,
We're like,
cop
oh,
cars pull
oh no,
up.
this is not good.
Just-
It was a state college township and like two cop cars. This is not
They
good.
started they started finding everybody in sight, and basically they raised they put up a Kickstarter, and like $10,000 of fines were given out, and the Kickstarter raised like $17,000 for everyone who got a fine.
Really?
Yeah, so no one had to pay a
Wow.
dime. Yeah, it
I
was
did
pretty
not
cool.
know that.
Yeah, it's cool. So
That
so
is
yeah,
really
so like
cool.
first match, I was like, oh, maybe it's gonna be a warm-up match. And I got this stud from New England. And yeah, and I like it's the match is going fine. It's like I'm winning like maybe 2-1 or something. I shoot a single leg, he goes to his hip, I step over the bottom leg, and he just leg cradles me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the worst. And so I get put to my back, and I'm freaking out because I'm like, I can't get pinned in a leg cradle. And I get up, and I think I lost. I got smoked. Like I lost like 11-4 or something. But I beat the kid, the next month. So making progress. And yeah, the only thing that Coach Mark said to me, he said, Jude, you can either be the kid that gets leg cradled and loses, or the kid who gets leg cradled and wins. Figure it out. So I was like, all right, man. But yes, I did get leg cradled.
Next question is this one's a good one. How do you lose weight?
How do I lose weight? I diet. I do not sweat, and I don't even cut very much. Like right now is probably a pretty hefty cut as far as it goes. But like during the season, I just keep a consistent diet, drink a ton of water, stay away from sodium and simple carbohydrates, and I don't get more than like one workout a day in usually. Like, and the weight comes off. I'm a naturally like pretty skinny guy, so I don't actually have like a ton of body fat on me, but a good diet goes a very long way. And you'd be surprised, a lot of wrestlers just terrible diets.
Yeah,
like
I've seen it.
It's horrible. So like, and I eat more, I feel better, I sleep more, like I drink more water, and I wrestle better. So that's, find a good diet that works for you. I can only recommend like staying away from any sugar, salt, simple carbohydrates like breads and pastas, lots of lean meats, lots of veggies, lots of water, electrolytes if you have them. So that's how I lose all of my weight.
Next question from a fan is, what big wrestler inspires you?
David Taylor. David Taylor is the big wrestler that inspires me.
Let's be honest, we all saw that coming.
Yeah, exactly.
We all saw that coming.
I know. So yeah, no. David he's a great man, and he's like, I owe him so much. I can't even begin to tell you like how much like he's done for me that like I can't even explain why he chose me, but it's a very humbling thing to know that like someone as good of a wrestler as David Taylor is willing to come to M2 and help young kids achieve their goals. So he inspires me all the time, and so yeah, that's my answer.
I'm gonna go off of that with the story of how I met David Taylor.
Okay.
It is the Penn State Lehigh meet where RBY did that crazy flip.
Yep.
And I won a contest from my club. If you won the contest, you got a signed pair of David Taylor shoes, which I have up there. Let me go grab them.
All right, let's see them.
I made these shoes just share for a second.
Okay. For those not watching the video, Ned just stood on his chairs to get David Taylor shoes.
You can tell I'm short from that, can't you? I'm not short. I'm 5'4". I don't know where the signature is, but I won these for my club. A lot of All-Americans, few world team members on here. I can't remember who's on there. I think that's it's the signature right there. You can see it's kind of fading away.
That's rad.
But, yeah, Bo Nickel down there. Jason Nolfert next to him. I didn't even get them. I wasn't signed that. I sent these with a friend to Penn State camp. Then so I won those shoes, and one of my coaches at the time, his name's Steve Fittery. He wrestled him in the semifinals and lost.
Yeah,
he would have won the national championship if he wasn't there. He took third. 4-time academic All-American, really, really smart guy.
Yeah.
Great with kids. He was one of my favorites.
Super nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Runs Fittery's intense training system, Fitz Wrestling Club Academy. I always thought it was Fitz, short for Fittery, but said to me, Ned, it's Fittery's intense training system. It would be something else, but I want to keep it PG. And I'm in the stands, and I see David Taylor downstairs, down in the court level. When I run down, I said, David, I want to make you know me. And I'm down there. We're talking with him. I tell him the story about how I got the shoes. Then the next dual meet was Arizona State versus Penn State. I only went to watch the Mark Hall Zahid match. And we're down, and Ivy's down there, and I go, David, did you miss me? He goes, yes, Ned, I missed you. And then we're at the NCAA tournament in Pittsburgh. I was fortunate enough to go, and they had a little thing in between every session. It was in the convention center held by NCAA's. Trophy was there. USA Wrestling was actually practicing on a few rove mats they had in the corner. So I was over there, and I go, David, did you miss me? He goes, hi, Ned. Yes, I missed you.
Great.
And he got his water break the one day, and he comes over to talk to me.
That's awesome, bro.
You
guys
know,
are
really
besties.
great guy. He's a
David's
really
the
great
man.
guy.
He is the man.
He's a very great guy. All right. Then the next question, give me a second. Next question is this one is what got you into the sport of wrestling, comma Ned, but we're just gonna ignore the Ned. Sorry, whoever that was. What got you into the sport of wrestling?
My dad wrestled in high school and then wrestled in college, and he just knew that wrestling was a very important thing for in the development of like a young kid. And so when I was 6 years old, he sent me to the local mat club, at State College, and the rest is pretty much history. So I wrestle. I have several younger brothers. They all wrestle. So it's pretty much it. It's not really a very interesting story. Well, what I will say is that I hated it. I hated wrestling so much, so much. Like I hated it until 8th grade. And then after I started going to M2, I started liking it, and now I love it. So that's it.
For I'll answer that question is 2nd grade, and I just switched schools. It was switched schools. I mean, I was in the same school district. We just switched schools because of my autistic brother. He had to go to the special ed. He had to go to like the special ed class. That's why so my house is like over here. There's a school like right there, and on the other side of the county, I mean, is of the school district area is the school where I went to. But the special ed program thing moved to that school, so I had to go to that school. So I switched, and it was the one of those where you go meet your teacher, and they had all these clubs, and wrestling was one of the options. Well, my dad wrestled in high school. He wrestled for Chief Logan, which isn't a school anymore. It's part of Mifflin County. It combined with Lewistown, and can't remember the other school, but this is actually where the Hiley brothers went. If I'm assuming you know them or know who they are. Know who they are. Heidley's dad took my grandfather's job. I mean, he didn't take it from him, but he took the job he had at the club, not the club, but the factory he worked at. Back on topic. So I'm there, and I was a baby. I was a kid that cried every day in class. I was just a wussy. And I said, Dad, I want to wrestle. He says, Ned, are you sure you want to wrestle? I don't think it'd be. He thought it wasn't tough enough. And I thought it was going to be something new. It's something I may not get into because I didn't play sport at the time. And it's the best decision in my life. I wish I did sooner.
Yeah. Man.
I played soccer for 2 years. I quit soccer because cut it my wrestling time. I used soccer to get in shape for wrestling, but
yeah, I did the same when I was younger. I had to quit soccer because I knew I was just gonna stick with wrestling.
Leading into that comment of I use soccer to get in shape. Question: how do you get in shape for wrestling?
I wrestle. That's it. Yeah. That's it. I do not do any extra. I lift weights, but I do not run. I do not do extra cardio or anything like that. The best way to get in shape for wrestling is to wrestle.
I found this much clean division.
Dad, I'm in the middle of the recording. I can cut that out.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
So, anyways, as I was saying, what I do is I wrestle, I run, I run every day. It's just something if I don't do, I don't feel right. I've just done it. It's what one of my coaches, his name is Chris Ramos. He says in the morning his run was like his coffee.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. But I used to when I was younger because I didn't understand the concept of running and that stuff. I did soccer.
Yeah.
The second to last question of the day is favorite style. Nothing else, just favorite style.
Favorite style. So I like. Well, all right. I don't care for Greco. I will say that. I'm better suited to folk style, but I enjoy wrestling freestyle. It doesn't like whatever I'm doing at the time, that's what I like doing. So right now I like freestyle. But so that's pretty much it. I
mean, if when people ask me, what do you like more, folk style or freestyle? I say, me and you were polar opposites. I like Greco because it's a very interesting style, but the way I wrestle it suits me naturally. So it's like it's really fun to do. But the problem is I've yet to throw a kid for 5 in Greco. For freestyle, I have done it, but Greco I have not.
Well,
and
you gotta get on that, man.
I got it, man. You're right. And the last question, top 5 wrestling states.
Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio,
California,
and
Wyoming.
No.
Yeah.
I'm saying New York.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Very nice.
Those are my top 5. But PA, I don't really know how they're all gonna fit in like beneath that, but PA is number 1 for sure.
It's PA. Second place is down there. It's PA second place. That's really all I have to say.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking freestyle Greco,
if we're talking freestyle, yeah. If we're talking freestyle, but Pennsylvania's had like 50-something NCAA national champions, and everybody else is
way more.
Yeah,
it's got to be way more, man. I think we had.
I mean,
whatever.
I say
like
50.
A third of all of.
Yeah, I say 50 after they changed the weight classes. So yeah. Well, I don't know what it is total, but 50 after they changed the weight classes. I don't remember what year it was, but they changed the weight classes.
I'm pretty sure something like a third of all of our NCAA qualifiers last year were from Pennsylvania. So
yeah,
it's really.
I'm pretty. I would believe you if you say it's way more than a third.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pennsylvania is such a deep wrestling history. It's amazing. I'm so fortunate to grow up in Pennsylvania.
It's special. It's a very special.
It's very special. Yes. All right, Jude. Fun having you.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Ned.
Yeah. If you haven't already, check out his podcast, Home That Advantage. Great podcast. I love listening to it. Really fun to listen to.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. All right. You have a nice day. Ned Kaufman, Ride Out Podcast.